Steve, we're back. Before we get to our guest, Cam Lizotte, I should apologize to you because I sandbagged you.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a Team Canada jersey because we're recording during the Olympics, and Steve has a Team Canada jersey.
I have my own Team Canada
I just
jersey.
thought, I wouldn't tell him I was wearing it, and now
So I'm dressed like this
I
instead.
feel like you're missing out a little bit.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I don't really accept your apology because I know it was done with disdain.
Yes. No,
You often do this
He
to
put
me.
me up to it, but
Yeah.
I think that's enough of that. But we're joined this week by Cam Lizotte. So really excited to have Cam here. Cam is the creator of the Great Canadian Jersey. We're going to talk to him about his career as a designer. Again, I think the show is called The Unlikely Innovator, so we really thought great thread for you. And again,
Oh my.
I didn't even mean to do
Thread.
that, but the thread is coming out. But to go from hockey to become a fashion designer is a bit of an unlikely journey. So we're really hoping to looking forward to chatting with you about that today.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me. And hey, I didn't get the memo either, so it's a 2-on-1.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
We're casual today. It's all good.
It's
We
very,
like
very
to keep
kind
it-
of you.
Keep it loose
Yeah.
on the show. But Cam, before we get to the jersey, because again, it's been great to see the promo of it. Again, to see all the different teams being represented in that jersey, and then I think the first rollout that we saw was with Connor McDavid wearing it. And I wanted to ask you how as a game plan when you played in the OHL, how could you defend against Connor McDavid? What could anyone do when he's coming up the other side of the ice?
Yeah, I wasn't really a religious guy, but definitely before those games, I learned to pray a bit. Luckily I wasn't on a Sportsnet top 10 as a defenseman, right?
Yeah.
Again, scored on by him, but there's definitely times where, you got to be careful, and because he is next level. Like there was never another guy in the league where when he touches the ice, you'll look at the whole bench, and the whole bench watches that guy.
Yeah.
He's a special kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I was watching, I'm not a huge hockey fan, but I was watching a bit of Olympic coverage, and they were saying, like, if he has at all any motivation, it'll be for this year's Olympic hockey. And they were saying how he's definitely going to switch it on. Do you think he's going to switch it on for this Olympic run?
Well, of course. Like we know the stakes, and if you look at his past, he hasn't won in a long time. Whether it's the OHL Cup, in the NHL, he's been close in the finals twice. So he's hungry to win something. Yeah, the Four Nations was fun. That definitely gave him some fuel. But yeah, I'm excited to see what he does.
Yeah, he's going to have some extra motivation, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, the name of the show, Unlikely Innovators, I don't think, as Mike said, there's a clear line you can draw typically between, like a hockey player to fashion design. So how sort of chart that for us? So, you had some time in the OHL.
Yeah.
What are the steps after that gets you, like, did you get the fashion bug? Did you sort of fall in love with that, while you were playing hockey, or how did that work?
It's definitely been a journey in like uncharted grounds. I just kind of when I was playing in Peterborough, my second year, we're at a high school, we're placed in a high school, and there's luckily it was kind of like a sub-second town. There was a lot of art classes. It was in more of an art school, which was like rare that hockey players would get put into that. But for me, it was like perfect. So we have a guidance counselor that just kind of goes, "What's your plan B?" And I just started dabbling with different art classes from like, music, painting, whatever they offered. And one of it was World of Fashion. And once I started sewing, I was like, okay, I'm actually like pretty good at this. It makes sense to me. Everything else, I can't draw that well, like till today. My sketches are very, nothing to show off, but it's the idea that gets across. Once I picked up how to sew in that class, I kind of just got addicted to it, and I asked for a sewing machine for Christmas, and I would just like sew at home. And I kind of explain this to people because I'm mainly self-taught. Like I learned the very basics, but when it came to elevating my craft, I tell people like if they've watched Queen's Gambit. So that's a show where she's able to teach herself and see it vividly on the ceiling.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I taught myself. It sounds weird, but life gets a little blurry with different things. But when it came to like how to make clothes, it became so vivid in my head where I would like before bed, like in the OHL, I would close my eyes and I'd like, oh, how would I make a hoodie, or how would I make teach myself what I don't know. And so I would look at my clothes inside out, kind of picture how the pieces would lay flat, and I would kind of go through the steps in my head. And if I had a problem, I'd back it up, try a different way till I figured it out in my head. And then once I did that, it was like etched in my mind. And so the next day I could wake up, not think much, and just sew it.
You didn't have to write it down. It was just like
Yeah, like once I
there?
thought it, I had the visual steps locked
Yeah.
in, and that was like a lot of my teaching was like just not sleeping that much, I guess. But I just enjoyed it. Like it was an escape for me. Playing in Peterborough, I was like I was scratched 50% of the time, which like you move away from home to play hockey, and then
Yeah.
you get to a place where they weren't utilizing me. Looking back, like if I was the GM, if you're not going to play a player that young so much, put him where he's going to play. That's my advice if I was in that spot. But so losing that control where I can't even be on the ice, I wasn't always the happiest guy there. And sewing was like an outlet for me where I had control and freedom, just to do what I want, and no one could tell me that I can't sew it, just like someone told me I couldn't skate.
Yeah, yeah.
So sewing was everything.
Yeah, I think I'm the only one in my family that doesn't know how to sew. My dad knows how to sew. My mom, my sister, everyone did. My dad learned to sew in the military, and then like took it up and like did his own seats on his boat and stuff.
Oh,
like
cool.
that. But that's one of those things where I imagine you have to do it a lot to get better at it, right?
Yeah, like practice makes better.
Yeah.
No one's perfect at anything, but you get better the more you do it. And yeah, like I spent a lot of hours, and it's still racking up. But it's I don't mind spending my time that way.
Yeah. And I mean, so many different techniques now too. I mean, like I toured a fashion school in Montreal. You were there,
I don't
weren't you there?
I don't think
LaSalle
so.
College,
I feel like I
or
would have remembered this.
It was one of the Cegeps.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah, yeah.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah, and they had like, now I'm like not really into this stuff, but like had like 10 different sewing machines that did like
they were
10
they were
different
pretty
kinds
wild.
of stitches and
the
stuff
equipment.
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
And like that's like a fashion school where like
Yeah.
they do that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
but you didn't have access to that like out the gate, right?
No, and that limits your options, right, of what
Yeah.
you could do. So of course I just had the regular sewing machine, and today I've slowly gained my portfolio of machines, and
Yeah.
I still want to expand. But yeah, like it's your tools, right? And whatever tools you got, that's just opens up more possibilities, more ideas. And like what keeps it exciting today is that like I do a lot of one-on-one stuff. I don't like repeating myself. You just feel like a robot. You don't feel stagnant, not learning. But I always go into a new piece kind of telling myself what's a technique or what's something I haven't done before. Because the second I find something that I haven't done that I will like use in that next piece, I get excited. And now I'm like, the next 20 hours, I don't care. Like I can't wait to showcase a new skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that what's called haute couture then? If you're just doing bespoke pieces like that, like singles?
Like you could, like so,
Yeah.
haute couture too sometimes sounds like not very wearable.
Right.
Like haute couture sometimes comes off as like more structural.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's more avant-garde.
Yeah.
But yeah, I make sure that I blend like design with functionality. As much as it's fun to like make things people have never seen before, I want it to be very wearable.
Right.
I got to make a living, so I make sure it doesn't sit in my closet forever.
Right.
Living in Sudbury, I definitely have changed my style a bit, and in a good way. It's more me, I feel. When I did Paris Fashion Week a couple times, it was fun, but I feel like I was making stuff that like I personally wouldn't wear, and that was the whole goal of it when I started it, was like making stuff that I want to wear. That's
Right.
that's the whole design philosophy. When I'm making stuff, it's like, what would I want to wear? So when I was doing stuff for Paris, I feel like I was doing stuff that was fun, it looked cool, but like just really out there.
So sorry, Paris Fashion Week. We can't just gloss over that. So tell me how that happened.
Yeah. So during COVID, I ended up moving to BC in Victoria. It was kind of like an out there thing, kind of a young decision. It was just trying to see the world a bit more. And I already had a friend out there, so I had a bit of ties that kind of led me there. And, for a while, for probably 5 years, I was just making stuff, put it online, just, doing my thing. And then I got reached out from someone by Vancouver Fashion Week. They saw my stuff. They thought it was really cool. They asked if I wanted to be a part of the Vancouver Fashion Week show. And I was like, hell yeah. Like, that sounds like a really cool way to showcase my stuff. Yeah. Gives me, a purpose or a goal in mind to sew for. And I did Vancouver Fashion Week. And then after the show, I didn't even know there was awards, but there was Most Emerging Design out of BC. And that award came with basically like a trip to Paris. And like they pay for the show, the whole thing. So I ended up winning that, doing Paris. And I did Paris twice, so it was pretty cool. I didn't expect to like get there. Usually that's something you do when you're like near the end of your career,
right?
Yeah. But to do that when I was like 22 or 23, it was like a crazy feat. Like I've said before, it's like I don't think that there's a guy who's worn and played in the NHL and also dressed for the Paris Fashion Week. It's just like very two different worlds. And it's just really, really funny that I got myself here from sewing.
Yeah.
Did you, this is going to sound like I'm naive to these things, but at the end of the fashion, so presumably models wore your clothes at Fashion Week, correct?
Yeah.
Did you get to walk out with them at the end like they do on TV?
Yeah. So at the end, like...
This is stupid.
No, that's a great
question. No, the models will go, and then at the end, all of them go. And then I walk out.
Oh man! So it was like a collection.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So like, I think the first collection I did in Paris, I was allowed to do 10 looks, and then I slowly like brought it up. The highest I did was 20 looks.
Oh wow!
And like most of these designers are coming in and like, oh, like I got a team to make it. I got it made overseas. Like a lot of these designers don't even know how to properly sew. So sometimes I don't like calling myself like a fashion designer because it implies that I don't like make it myself.
Right.
So people looked at me like a little crazy to like I made this all by hand by myself, 16-hour days for 2.5 months. So I spent a lot of time alone. That's why I have 3 cats. They keep some company. So it's a very it's isolating at times. That's why you get burnt out. I couldn't do that forever. Yeah. Those shows were a blessing, and it's fun to have those credentials. But I knew it was a chapter and not the whole book.
And I imagine like when you first started picking up sewing, like when you were still in the OHL, was that couldn't have been something your mind even fathomed that you'd be at? Like Paris Fashion Week in like a few years from that point?
Yeah, no.
Like were you thinking long term, or was it you mentioned being scratched and having more time? Was it more of the escape, or were you starting to think about the plan B and I might want to get into fashion in some way?
And that in those days, I think all I was thinking about was like how to like teaching myself the craft.
Yeah.
I was so like invested in the craft of sewing that like I feel like I wasn't thinking that far ahead.
Yeah.
Like it was hockey and then, how to make this, and then that would consume me. So I was very in the moment, which I'm happy that I didn't look too far ahead. It definitely always surpassed my hopes. If I did look ahead, it surpassed. Yeah.
And you said you weren't probably the happiest guy in the team, but would it be crazy of me to say you were one of the best dressed though?
Yeah, that was easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
If guys like needed to go shopping, like they would take me out.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So.
Well, I think we saw a clip that again, like obviously hockey's like the sport where people are often set in their ways. So I imagine when you started sharing that you were getting into sewing and fashion, I'm sure there were some chirps from some of the maybe even teammates or opponents. But then I think you said that like then after that they're requesting stuff from you, or they want stuff made, or they're asking for your advice. What was that like?
Yeah, I didn't take long for them to start like changing those words, but. Like I said before, it's like, I was the guy protecting guys. I finished with 47 career fights.
Yeah.
If I was like a different type of player, maybe it would have been easier for guys to chirp.
Yeah.
But most guys, they want to be on my good side, like, especially opponents, like I was voted by Coach's Pool in the OHL 3 years in a row for body checking and shot blocking. So like I put my body on the line, like, the guys know that, they respect that.
Yeah.
So I think I had a level of respect, luckily, to get into this. That gave me more confidence and like, you know, who cares what they say.
Yeah.
Even when I went to St. Charles, most people didn't really know me because like from grade 10 I was gone most of the time, and I would come back in like May. So like, you know, like who's this random guy showing up at the end of the year? And during like the graduation, they mentioned like, oh, Cameron will go into study. You know, they kind of say what they're going to go into, and they said fashion design. And the whole gym like audibly laughed, and they thought like, "Oh, look at this hockey player! That's a pretty good joke. They can make me some shoes." Like, oh yeah, they thought it was like a big joke.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I just kind of blocked it out. You know, got my paper, and like I knew what I was capable of, and I would be more embarrassed in some way if I wasn't gonna walk the walk.
Right.
But like I knew, I put my head down and I put the work in. So I know the work would speak for itself. I didn't have to try to convince people. It wasn't my job. Yeah.
You got the last laugh.
Yeah.
Paris Fashion Week.
And the
Walking down the runway.
And the Great Canadian Jersey. So
No
we want
doubt.
to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through that? Again, I think through the power of production, I think our producer will probably be able to show what the jersey looks like.
Where is it going to be on the screen?
I mean, Paul will figure it out. It's going to be right in front of your face.
Hopefully
It could
it's
be in
not
front of
blocking
mine.
me. Yeah.
Maybe like right around here,
Yeah,
Paul,
yeah.
somewhere around here.
I
So,
bet you it'll
like,
take up the whole.
yeah, so this is
whole
great
page.
for all the people on audio, but the
Yeah,
people
yeah.
that are watching.
Oh yeah, the people at home. Yeah.
We'll see it,
Yeah.
but just walk us through, how that all came together, and then we definitely have some, I think, inside baseball questions about creative process and how it all came together.
Yeah. So it was right before Christmas. I got an email from a publicist team. So it's like a third-party team that Rogers works with to do all the communications and be the middleman to it all. And they reached out saying, we were wondering if you're interested. They kind of kept it very vague. And so right away I was kind of, spent some time making sure like it wasn't spam or like I've gotten enough fake stuff that you can always question it.
Yeah.
And but sure enough, like everything seemed legit. So I reached back out, and they planned a meeting right away with me. And once I agreed and signed my stuff, that they were able to tell me it all, and I couldn't believe it. Like I looked at their past of what they worked with, and it was like Sleep Country, Canadian Tire. I was like, okay, like it could be something cool, but they're like, no, like this is for Connor McDavid, like for Rogers, like for like the Great Canadian Jersey. And I was just over the moon. Like, I'd be lying if I didn't tear up that first day.
No doubt.
Because there's, like I said, it's very isolating doing what I do. And when you put a lot of work in, you don't receive like a big opportunity for a while. Like Paris was a while ago. It's like a couple years. You start to think maybe my better days are behind me, and you don't want to think like that, but you do, when you spend enough time alone, you get those thoughts. And I was just truly really, really grateful that I was chosen. And I asked them, like, why me? Like, I'm freaking this little like designer. I'm living on a Sudbury. Like, it's Rogers. They could get Lululemon, like, you know what I mean, like anyone. And they said no. Like they presented a few options to the Rogers team, and with my hockey background, I was unanimously chosen. So yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah.
Getting that news must have been nuts, eh?
Yeah.
Like going through the process, but then being like, "This is green lit."
Oh yeah, I like telling my brothers over the phone, and my speaker is breaking because of how loud they're screaming. Like, 'cause we're a hockey family, and we know how important it all is. Like this opportunity, and it was always a dream of mine. Like obviously, I want my work to be on the biggest names, and to have it on the biggest hockey players in Canada it's an honor, man. Like hockey is my first love. Mm-hmm. So to have it all circle back together, it's special.
Yeah. And you said this was before Christmas, before the holidays?
Yeah.
So that's a pretty
They wanted me to
tight
work
timeline.
through Christmas, yeah.
Yeah.
So like I had to come up with some sketches by like the 31st. So
The 31st.
yeah, so I had to be pretty tamed over the holidays. Yeah.
Yeah, no long Christmas parties.
No.
Yeah. Especially if you're doing 16-hour days, my gosh.
Yeah.
And like, so how many were you on the hook for? Were you contracted for?
Yeah, we did 5, and they were maybe thinking 10, but once they don't know the process. They think we can make these. Like I can make them like
You
that.
got a team behind you that could just knock them
Yeah.
out.
So once they figured like, I told them like the whole process. They're like, okay, like maybe 5, and we'll start there. And we also didn't know how many jerseys we were gonna get, and like which was really fun because they actually had me move to Toronto. So I lived in Toronto for a few weeks, and they set me up at a studio down there that had 2 sewers to work for me.
Right.
So for the first time in my life, I actually had a team.
Yeah.
Which was crazy. And the sewers enjoyed working for me because most designers they work for, like I spoke about earlier, they didn't really know the full way of how to construct stuff.
Yeah.
So their ideas would come across, but when it came to the sewing machine, it wasn't like fully fusible, or it just wasn't possible the way they dream of it. So the fact that I had that in my background, all the knowledge, they loved working for me because when I told them what to sew, they're like, yeah, like that makes sense. And so it was cool too because they did films, film work usually, and they did the latest movie Frankenstein, which is pretty cool, and Handmaid's Tale, which is another like pretty cool show in Toronto. So it was cool to have a team, and it was weird like not having to sew everything. Like usually it's
give up that control a little bit, right?
Yeah, usually it's really hard for me to give up that control. Like I've hired sewers before, but it's like the quality that you have to watch. But with them, they're like pros. Yeah. So like they had me in a nice hotel downtown Toronto. So it was just cool to like as a suburb boy, wake up in the big city and have a job to do. And it was fun time. I'm happy I did it down there as an experience and more connections. Like the lady said, like you can use my studio whenever you're in Toronto.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh, that's pretty nice of you. Yeah. Lifelong friend.
And in terms of like the creative process of putting them all together, because again, you've seen it if you're watching, but if you're listening, it's a collection of different jerseys representing, each province and territory in Canada. So you've got jerseys from across the country. Are you visualizing how it's going to look, or like you talked about earlier, or did you have everything kind of mapped out on paper and it just kind of depended on who was going to be able to give you the jerseys in time because you're on obviously a tight turnaround?
Yeah, it was a tight timeline, and like it was tough because like they wanted the jerseys to represent everywhere, every province and territory. But they wanted to say, like, let's say they wanted the first jersey out and shipped to Edmonton the 21st, while we're still waiting for Newfoundland and Northwest Territories. So it was
Big gap left in the jersey.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, just make it and we'll fill it in after. I'm like, that's not really how it works. Like I need to know what the puzzle looks like. Luckily, it all worked out, but I didn't really know exactly. I knew it was going to be a lot of colors. Because originally I had like in the sketching process had ideas of maybe trying to, separate the colors a little bit, but it's tough to judge what we're gonna get. The only colors I kind of did was like on the shoulder patches, like the panel of the jersey, to make sure it looked like a jersey. I made sure to just use white jerseys. Right. I knew we'd get a lot of white. Everybody has a home jersey, right? So I made sure that I did white jerseys on the top, and the rest was going to be whatever, just trying to balance it. I didn't really know what it was going to look like, but each day I would show up, I would be on a table, and I would have like 600 jerseys, and I would have to pull them out and, get inspired. And like, it was tough to like find a start, but I started learning. Once I found like a focal point, I branch off.
Right.
So I would just build like a big panel, big enough that would fit our pattern pieces. So I would measure what our front piece, back piece, sleeves would be.
Right.
And then I would just build pieces, and then I'd measure those big slices that I made until I knew it was big enough to fit a piece for the pattern. And so I started having fun with like, there was one that was really cool. We had to incorporate all 7 NHL teams. And so there was one where the Oilers logo, I cut it in half, and then there's the Oil Kings in the WHL. Mm-hmm. So if you put them together, it's like it's Oilers, but it is from Oil Kings, and then the other side's Oil Kings. So it was cool to like blend them but give purpose to them.
Right.
I like even made like a hybrid animal like out of like the Barry Colts logo and a Moncton Wildcat. You put them together and the way the lines lined up, it just made like a perfect like animal. And so once I like found those centerpieces, then I was like, I'll fill it in with like just more, patches of without logos, because you learn where if you start putting too much logos, like embroidered logos near the armpits, it starts to like push up, and not sit well.
Yeah,
so you had to make sure when you did the big logos.
You're looking at your armpits now, right?
No,
Yeah,
my armpits are great.
But yeah, like that logo, So I made sure I did a big logo in the center, and then here and on the back, center back. But once you came to the edges,
Yeah.
you didn't want to get too.
It has to flex.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't overthink it. So you just do like just fabrics with stripes or whatever.
Yeah.
But so yeah, it was a fun process. But my brain was hurting. I was mush by the end of it. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I think so. Is every jersey the same, or are they all 5 unique jerseys?
They're all different. Like
Okay.
the only thing that's the same is like.
The teams used, or
Like there's a 7 NHL teams that's on
Yeah.
all of them, but they're different jerseys. I can only use so much of the logos, and then we had to do. We agreed on a half leaf. It was tough to decide of like if we wanted like a logo in the front
Right.
because of like restrictions with Olympic Committee. They're very strict on the 11-point leaf. I don't know what the trees think about it. But apparently, the Olympic Committee and the Canada Heritage or something like that,
right?
Heritage Canada, have the rights to all that. So we had to make sure that all things were cleared. We had to get clearance from the NHL teams for how I was cutting them up. So it was a lot of like, there's a bit of paralysis when you work because you do it, but then you got to take a photo and you got to wait hours to see if it's all cleared. But yeah, every jersey is different. I wanted to make sure that I showcased a lot of people who donated. So I definitely used up like at least 200-300 of them. Yeah, easy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was gonna say, so you make something like this, right? And this is going out to people who know and love hockey. What kind of reactions did you get when like the first looks from hockey people?
They thought it was pretty cool for the most part. Like, of course, like once you get to that level of like social media, when it's being posted on high level accounts,
don't look at those comments.
Well, and the thing is, like, I'm made of stone now.
Yeah.
I've been through it all. So I really don't care. I believe what I made and what was doable for us. So I was super happy with how it turned out. So I didn't care what every comment said. But of course, you're gonna see people write like, "Oh, this is the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life." But it's like, you try to do this, okay? It is a hard job.
Look at the task we had to do.
Yeah. But no, it's good. I had a lot of love, and that's all you need. Like for your friends and family, that's what I listen to, and I trust my opinion, and I enjoyed what I did. Yeah.
No, it looks great, and I mean, I think we're all 3 of us are Sudbury boys. I think we spotted your Nickel City Suns jersey, and then you're a Llewellyn guy, but there was a Llewellyn Lightning jersey on there as well. That was one of your buddies played for Llewellyn?
Well, yeah, my buddy plays there, and he was my photographer through the whole process. He's from Sudbury, but he lives in Toronto now.
Right.
He's incredible. All my footage and most of my like creative shots are done by him. He's been a good friend of mine, and on our way as we were driving to Toronto, he was with me in the car. He's like, "We got to make one pit stop," and he knows the lady who runs the playground hockey at Llewellyn.
Oh.
So we go in the Llewellyn shack late night, open it up. She pulls out some old jerseys, and of course I was gonna include it. Like she reached out to me, and she's just, super happy. She's like, "Oh, you didn't have to put it on, but I wanted to. Like, I wanted to show part of Northern Ontario, because part that was kind of." It was too bad. Like when people started donating jerseys, I was like, oh yeah, like you could donate them. When people are asking me where to do it, I look online and there's nowhere in Northern Ontario. It was the highest was like Barrie. And I was like, well, come on. Like, we're part of this province, we have a lot to show.
A lot of hockey history up here.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But yeah, so I want to make sure like Sudbury was at least going to be in there. You know, like no one was able to donate from the Sioux or North Bay, but that's part of my history as well. Like growing up playing in the AAA loop here, that's the teams I played against, and so whenever I see teams when I was making the jersey that I played against or had ties to it, I'd always want to include it because at the end of the day, like as much as it's our Canadian story, like I'm designing it, so it's going to be a lot of my story as well.
For sure.
So there's some choices I made in there. It's like because it's part of my journey as well. Yeah.
You know who else is a Llewellyn Lightning alum?
Who's that?
Zoe Comito.
Oh wow.
So my daughter did 1 year,
So
1 year of
Everyone should know the name.
1 year of playground hockey.
Yeah.
And she was assigned Llewellyn Lightning.
Yeah.
And when I saw your jersey, I went downstairs and tried to rummage through a bag, but it wasn't. It was just a Tim Hortons jersey.
Right.
Oh
Just
yeah.
the blue Tim Hortons on
Yeah,
the front
yeah.
and back. So I was like, there's no Llewellyn Lightning crest.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
That was the team that she was assigned, even though we live in New Sudbury. But
Yeah.
we'll take it.
Yeah,
Cool.
No doubt. No doubt. Cam, we wanted to also huge project. Obviously, you're probably that's a good reference project too going forward. I'm sure you get a lot of eyes on that. You get a lot of traffic to your website. I'm sure. If you wanted to talk a little bit about Coin, I hope I'm saying that right. I think there's only one way of saying that. Like that's your sort of everyday pursuit, right?
Yeah.
So maybe just talk a little bit about that and what it is, what the vision is for that. Where you're heading with that.
Yeah, like for a long time, like before, like when I started, and also like during my fashion show days, I was creating the create, like I said, like creating what I would wear, but it wasn't made for somebody. And slow fashion, it's tough. Like you have a lot of options to save money on clothes, and at the end of the day, I can't sell myself short. My time, I have to tell myself that my time is valuable. It's difficult as an artist to tell yourself that because you love what you do. When you love what you do, you don't mind working for free, but it doesn't pay. You got to make a living, And as I get older, I'm looking at my future more. I'm trying to find ways to make it more, fusible for the future for myself and hopefully a family down the road. And so I'm like, what can I do with the sewing machine to make money? So of course, like I'll always do my one-of-ones and do creative stuff, but I also started offering alterations, repairs, lessons, and custom work. Customs have been like probably the biggest. Alterations have been really good too, but like customs have been really fun because it's a way for me to like do self-portraits of people. In a way, like people ask me like when they approach me and they want something like a certain type of jacket or a certain look, or some people don't even know what they want, but they want it made for them. And it's pretty cool to kind of like get to know people in a way. I do like a mini podcast with them. And I kind of dissect what they're interested in and how to express themselves through clothes. So I find that pretty enjoyable. I'm currently working on a project for the BTB boys. Yeah. So
they're on this network.
there you go. Yeah. So they're the guys I've known for a long time. I've been on their podcast years ago, and we've always kept in touch. And so I'm making them like uniforms in a way, like custom jackets for them all.
Don't get any ideas, Mike. We can't afford that.
We're only two; they have four.
Yeah,
so
that's
I think,
true. We're cheap as a result.
Yeah. So it's gonna keep me busy for a bit making four of them. So, but like with them, it's been really fun to kind of, seeing how they want to represent their brand through clothes and elevate their stuff. Because every company, they can easily just get screen printing and made something easy. But when people work with me, I want them to know like this is going to be next level. Like this is going to be craftsmanship, forever lasting work for them. And so, the way Coin is going, like, of course, I would love to do a show again. I had a show planned for Science North a while ago. I ended up canceling it because I got offered a studio space. So I work out of my house, but it's only 10 steps from my house. So it's not that far, but it's nice. It's out of my home and has its own space. My cats don't love that, but it's nice. And so with that and with the Great Canadian Jersey and all these other like alterations was crazy at one point. I just kind of had to put the show on the back burner, unfortunately. But I'm hoping once again a comfortable position. I want to get back to that and do like a crazy cool fashion show at Science North. They offer the cavern and stuff, but I'm gonna convince them that like my dream, like since I was a kid, was to use the tunnel in some sort of way, like the way that spins up. You know, the cave tunnel is cool too. It's just really dark and there's not much room for seats. It's pretty narrow. But yeah, like I want to do something really cool at Science North. That's like would be a big goal of mine ever since I started sewing.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
That'd be unreal.
I've got one fashion show story that I'll share. And
You do?
Yeah, but I've never had a reason to share it before, but now it makes sense. So like my dad Steve knows this, but you wouldn't. My dad worked for Sears for a number of years.
Sears Roebuck.
Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore. But back in the day, Sears used to do fashion shows in the store, and I was probably
Oh no, were you in one?
like 3 or 4, and so I was wearing whatever they put me in that day, walking down the runway. My mom's in the front row. I get to the end of the runway, and I pick my nose and flick it into the crowd.
Hey, that's a move.
And then
That's your.
I think
That's,
my
and
mom-
honestly, that's your custom.
my mom
move,
disavowed me. It's like, whose son is that? And she's like,
At least they didn't rub it on the clothes.
Yeah,
So
that's
that
nuts,
was the
man.
first and only time I ever was invited.
Might as well
back
bring it up
to
on
fashion
a
show.
podcast. That
Well, I'm
everyone
just
can
saying.
listen to.
Well, yeah, I have no shame. You
Yeah,
know,
and,
know.
that,
Honestly,
and that much is obvious.
It's pretty original. Like
Yeah,
I could
it's
see like Balenciaga doing something like that.
yeah.
Like,
Honestly,
yeah.
it's a bit macabre.
Yeah, you could-
yeah. That's
That's
good
awesome story,
for you,
man.
man.
But Cam, you've been really generous with your time, and we know that you've got more important things to do. Before we let you go, we do like to have some fun with our guests. We do a best of Sudbury list. But before that, I wanted to ask you this because you mentioned the BTB boys, and now I've got a little bit of a platform here.
Selfish.
So I think you were in the pond hockey tournament a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
You're playing for Total.
Yeah, construction or something like that.
Would it be fair to call you, as somebody who played in the OHL, a ringer for a tournament like that?
A ringer. Like, what do you mean by that?
Like when you bring in like the highly skilled, talented people on your team to like try to win it.
Hey, it's a tennis ball. It's anyone's game.
No. It's not a knock. Where I'm going with this is the BTB guys. They compile their roster with the guys that work on the show, but then the goalie came in. He had a Sudbury Wolves bag. There was a guy on the ice with a Barry Colts helmet.
Yeah.
The girls were wearing CIS helmets, and one of them played, I think, a few games in the PWHL.
Yeah.
If you're that type of player, do you try to go under the radar with what you're wearing, or how do you?
Yeah.
It's obviously apparent once you get on the ice that you've played at a high
Yeah,
level.
but yeah, no, you never want to show too much attention. I heard that they stacked their team up, but they
Did they
didn't.
win?
They didn't make it to
No,
the
they
finals.
didn't.
What?
So
What's
They
the
won
point?
last year though.
Yeah, so 3 teams came 3-0.
Yeah.
My team included, but their team had more goals against.
Ah.
So they went 3-0, won last year, and
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
move on. So I didn't talk to them about it yet. I'm sure they're kind of still hurting. I'm giving them new space.
Yeah, they need the time.
For them to like not lose and not move on, it sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you definitely want to be pretty low key. Yeah, like when I first got out of hockey, I would play in a beer league tournament. But of course, all my equipment, it says where I played.
Yeah.
Guys start playing really hard on you.
Oh.
And one of the reasons why I stopped playing is because I needed surgery to continue. Of course, fashion was like what I wanted to do, but another reason was like I was injured. My shoulder just kind of keeps falling out. But once they knew you, they play extra hard on you. Next thing you know, my shoulder comes out at a beer league tournament. So it's like you don't want that attention.
Yeah.
You just want to have fun. And like people are like screaming in your face, like because they beat me in a beer league game, and they're like, I'm like, dude, like I won the OHL Cup. This is like so just nonchalant for me, but guys take it all. It's the peak for some of these guys still.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you let them have their glory.
So
but,
how many fights did you get in then?
in the beer league or
No, in the pond hockey
it-
No,
tournament.
it was clean.
no, it was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember watching a game that my buddy was playing in one year when it was on on Ramsey.
The boot goal.
Yeah, actually
Eric,
you were
the
on
legend,
the team.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you remember those guys that were like
Oh.
like in the pond next to us?
Yeah.
It was like
People-
they're actually
people
like
get
they're
into
gonna
fights
they're
at
gonna
those
start
tournaments
fighting.
it was
back in the day.
was it last
It's
year?
a charity tournament.
Oh, this was years
Okay,
ago.
because last year
DJ
There was
Pauly
one last
defense?
year. I think.
there's a couple guys on my
Yeah.
team. I don't want to name names, but he needs to cool it. Like it's a kids tournament.
No
Yeah.
kidding, right?
Yeah, like and that's the thing. Like I'm there for fun.
Yeah.
like people, of course, I'm invested and I'm competitive, but for me to get to a point where I'm going to be fighting, that's a joke.
Yeah, that's
like
nuts, right?
just have fun, man.
Yeah.
If you want to compete, cool, that's fun. Like you know, but any extracurricular stuff, it's like it doesn't bother me.
Yeah. And I mean, it needs to be a bit competitive because it needs to
Well,
bring
yeah,
the flow
you're
of the
still
game.
trying
and-
to, yeah.
Yeah,
But
you want to win.
The one
Yeah.
thing I'll say to go under the radar, and I don't want to typecast any, but to go under the radar at these tournaments, anyone wearing jeans is usually you like.
Well, you've been going under the radar every
Well, I mean,
time
I'm bad.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm not going under the radar. Like I look.
You're
like
trying
I'm
to make it over the radar.
But I'm saying throw on
Yeah.
a pair of jeans, and people always are a little bit.
That's so
Someone
true.
with jeans looks unassuming on the ice, and usually they're not the best.
Yeah.
So throw on the jeans. And
That's
people will-
hilarious.
they
Yeah,
will
jeans.
assume
Yeah.
he's out here
Freezing
'cause
your
he's
ass
old,
off
he's got to
in
be here,
jeans.
but
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway,
That's hilarious. I'll do that next year.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good move, actually.
Yeah.
That's not bad. So, should we get to the best of,
Yeah,
Mike?
yeah,
Best
you
of
kick it
Sudbury?
off. Kick it off.
So, this is where we just go down a list and just first thing that comes to mind. Don't worry about hurting any feelings out there because you could change your answer at any point. But best pizza in Sudbury?
So that's a good one. I love my pizza,
Yeah,
but growing up as a family, like we always ate Topper's Pizza.
Yeah,
that was what we ordered, and honestly, I'm still a lover of it. Like when I was a little boy playing hockey, I was like, my dream is to be sponsored by Toppers. Like, hey, if it's still out
It's
there,
still
if
out
Toppers
there,
wants to.
absolutely, yeah.
Like we even got gift cards a couple Christmases because we were like one of the most valued customers in the city.
Yeah.
I mean, three boys. You know,
Yeah.
we
That's a lot of
crush
pizza.
a lot of pizza, man.
Let me tell you something. When I was in second year university, I won free Topper's Pizza for a year.
Dude, that's a dream.
Yeah.
I'm so
I
jealous.
could only do what was it, 2 or 3 a week or something? Like
I
that?
bet
But
you,
still.
you gotta like
And they
pace
capped
yourself.
me. No, I was abusing it. They capped me. Yeah.
That's a
They,
Steve Gravel rule.
yeah. I used to walk in there, and like they walk up to the cashier and be like, "By the way, so my name's Steve. I get free pizza here." And they're like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And they're like, "Call head office."
That is
and then
that's
it would come
sweet.
through. Yeah, it was
That's
good.
sweet.
Most popular guy at parties for a year.
So yeah, like of course there's like restaurants that do amazing pizzas, like,
Yeah.
but if we're just talking, like Don's is great.
Yeah.
You know, like of course like De Gusto and
I locked in Toppers as your answer.
but
already.
Toppers is like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
that's home.
Yeah.
What about best burger for you?
Yeah, it's tough to beat a Five Guys burger. Like I do really love Five Guys, and I also love like chip stands in the summers. There's one in Garson, Bundy's I think it's called.
Nice.
But I love chip stand burgers in the summer. But yeah, like Five Guys is good. I'm trying to think of like Sudbury chain, but
Five Guys is good, man.
yeah, it's
We're gonna lock in Five Guys.
yeah.
What about best wings?
Ooh, well, it's tough. Like, is the doghouse still a thing, or are they done?
No,
they've got
they
the
got-
location in
They
the,
do?
in the Zilda.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just
well,
downtown.
Doghouse?
like doghouse.
These could be places that have closed, by the
Yeah,
way.
we probably should have mentioned
Yeah,
the outside.
that's-
Word, yeah, like doghouse is always good. It's also a bit of nostalgia, like going
Yeah.
there with like watching hockey with my dad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say doghouse. Yeah.
Okay. Best fine dining experience.
If we could even be said to have that in Sudbury, of course. No, of course.
Whoa, now you're like-
this guy's gonna fight me now.
Yeah, there's a couple good spots like the garden at the Hilton behind
Oh,
the
yeah.
keg
Yeah,
is really
yeah,
good.
That's a good pull.
Verdicchio's.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll start with there. Like rest in peace, Tommy's not here.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
been closed.
That's a
Here.
bummer.
Yeah,
Here.
yeah.
That was our go-to.
Yeah.
We'd
Yeah.
always go there. And
Good night.
I have a $100 gift card for Tommy's not here that
Well,
I should
frame
probably
it.
maybe
No.
put in a frame.
Frame
Yeah,
it
just
on the
frame
wall.
it.
Frame it up. What about best hidden gem? Now, when we talk about hidden gem, it could be culinarily, it could be sort of like what you bring people to when they come to town.
That's a good one. Yeah, because I had a good friend from Calgary come visit, and you try to show him everything, but like it's not really hidden. But like Science North is still the
Yeah,
coolest place.
yeah.
Like it's just architecturally so cool, but it's not really hidden.
Well, I mean, it
But
was
to
hidden
people not
from
Sudbury, I'd
someone
say.
from Calgary, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I wish I had a more.
No one's given that answer yet, so that's
Okay,
good.
that is good.
And
But
then
yeah,
the last one we have is, and you can take this in any different direction, seasonal or otherwise, but best outdoors experience in Sudbury for your money.
outdoor experience. I grew up on Wanapate Lake and skied. So
You're a skeedite.
yeah, I am a skeedite. Yeah, but there's a place called North Shore in Skeed. It's behind Capriel, basically.
Yeah.
But there's like sand mountains, and there's a beautiful restaurant there. It's indigenous food. It's on the reserve there, but it's pretty remote. But if you can get to North Shore, it's pretty cool on Wapiti Lake. Yeah, there's even like a band will play there once a year on a boat.
Oh, wow.
They do a little events, and but yeah, that's my hidden gem, like for sure.
There you
is
go.
North Shore.
That's great.
There you go, everyone. Cam Lizotte spending a bit of his afternoon with us. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Yeah, it's fun hanging out with you guys.
Awesome.
Thanks, Cam.
Thanks, man.